In this tutorial, we will write a small Java application to create a regular JDBC connection to the MariaDB so that we will be able to access the database from within our Java code. For my YouTube students, this slideshow is part of a series in a YouTube playlist. The playlist URL will be listed in the description and comments of this lesson. All the source code for this playlist will be available for free in a GitHub repository. These are the high-level steps we will perform in this lesson. First, we will add a JDBC connection module to our Intellij project structure. For this, we will use the Maven Quick Start archetype. We will also use the JUnit test driver that was created for us by the Maven Quick Start archetype. And then we will write a DriverManager application that gets the JDBC connection for us. Now we will be connecting to the database using the same JDBC driver that we used inside of Intellij to connect to the database. So we will have a look at how to use this DriverManager class to connect to the charity database. And in our code, we will specify the database connection URL properties, which we will get from within our existing Intellij connection. So let's move over to Intellij. Here we are back in Intellij. We will start by creating our first JDBC connection module. New module, create from archetype, quick start. We are just going to name it JDBC1. Our artifact coordinates looks right. Finish. And we will add it to our Git repo. And we see that it ran the Maven archetype creation. And we'll add the files that it created for us to Git as well. And let's see, it still wants to add some extra files to Git. We do not want to add our target directory to Git, so I'll just cancel here. We will go to the global GitHub repo and find a .git ignore file specifically for Intellij and copy it to the root of our Spring JDBC Getting Started project. This is the location of the global JetBrains.git ignore file. And as you can see, it specifies all the files and locations to ignore. So I will download it and copy it into my Intellij project. I'll also add it to Git. And here it is. So let's run clean compile, clean install, and we'll commit. So now we're kind of in a state where we can go back and look at our code. So generated for us is a main app class and an application test class for testing our app. So we will change this app to create a database connection, and we will test connecting to our database connection here. So let's rename our application class. We will rename our tests as well to refactor. Since this is the DriverManager app, we will have to set up all the properties for our database driver connection. So if we go into database and we look at our data source properties, we see we have host, username, password, database, and URL. That would all be part of our connection properties that we will have to set up in code. Some more properties here. So let's define all these fields in our code. Username, password, database, server name, port number, and database name. We'll generate getters and setters for them. We have our getters and setters for all our properties. And now we can actually write our get connection method. We will just stub it out with returning null for now and generate a test for it. We will use JUnit 5. And it immediately tells us we need to add dependencies. It added it for us in our Maven file. Okay, now we can start cleaning up things a little bit. We can remove the auto-generated test, clean up the unused imports. And talking about imports, let's fix our dependencies in our POM file. We remove the generated JUnit 4 dependency, and we fix the JUnit 5 dependency. And since we are using the MariaDB database driver, we're going to need to add it as a dependency. So this is essentially this database driver here. And we can see the version number here. That should bring in the JDBC driver for us. And now we go back to our application and we will write the connection code. I'm going to start pasting in now to save some time. Doing some cleanup. Let's go through the get connection method. We create a SQL connection, we set it to null, and then we get a property object, and we pass the property object the username and password. We test that it's a MariaDB connection, and then we get the connection from the DriverManager with the database, server name, port number, and name, and we return the connection. So let's add the logic to our test. In order to get our DriverManager test to work, we're going to have to create the DriverManager app and set its properties. Here we create the DriverManager app, and now before each we set all the values of the properties. MariaDB, root secret, localhost, 3306, CharityDB. We got all of that from our setup here. Now we can get the connection. So this is a try with resources, get the connection. We print the catalog and then we test that the catalog is equal to CharityDB. So let's do a clean compile and we run a test and that looks good. It looks like we were able to connect to the database and get the catalog back and also run it from within Intellij. Looks like we need to fix this. Look at our module settings. Alright, we need to go to Java 11. Apply 11, 11, apply all that. Let's try it again. Let's upgrade to Java 11 on all of our POM files then. And let's see if that fixed it. That was the problem. We were on Java 7 when we were supposed to be on Java 11. And now we have a working Java database connection creation and we have a passing unit test. And that concludes our first JDBC tutorial.